What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 1025 in Conversation. This is episode 3. I'm Jordan Keith Walton, and today I have a special guest. I've recently become a fan of her on her YouTube channel, and that is Gabby from Californiablend. First of all, Gabby, I just want to say for the upteenth time, thank you so much for being a part of 1025 in Conversation. It is so dope to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, I just want to kick it off with tell everyone about yourself.
So my name is Gabby, and I'm a West Palm Beach, Florida artist. Normally, I sell my artwork at comic conventions. I've been doing that since I was 14 years old. And as of late, I just created my own comic entitled Luminous Sage that deals with bioluminescence, ocean pollution, and ocean exploitation as well. And currently, I'm attending Savannah College of Art and Design, the Atlanta campus, and I'm actually a film and TV major. So I dabble in a little bit of art, a little bit of film and TV. So I just have different passions and stuff.
That's what's up. I tried getting into SCAD. I actually got into SCAD and I couldn't go because money was a little tight. So, but yeah, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I go to the University of West Georgia, and I am also a film and television major, all that type of stuff. But yeah, one of the things I like to ask people, Gabby, is especially artists, is what was the main thing that kind of inspires you to become an artist? And were there any artists, for example, like Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko, that you admired while growing up?
Yeah. So how I got into art, since I have 3 older brothers, they are all artists as well, but the second one kind of took off with his art, so I watched him as I was growing up and stuff. And I was never like formally trained in art. It's just something that has always been self-taught. And I specialize in acrylic painting on canvas and stuff. So I just kind of learn as I go and just try to develop my own style. And I also have a passion for superheroes. So my passion for superheroes and my passion for art just kind of combined. So that's how I ended up where I am.
Yeah, it's just a match made in heaven, It's interesting that when you say that you have 3 older brothers, and then you kind of went on your own path to become an artist, because very similar to me, for example, like I'm the youngest in my family, and I grew up loving comic books and loving comic book movies. Like I think the first film that I ever literally watched in my lifetime was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, which I actually became a fan of on your channel. And I was like your reaction was like, yeah, that was like my reaction while watching the movie. I was like, it's pretty cool. And then when I got into middle school, originally, I tell this story a billion times. Originally, I wanted to be an engineer. I thought I was going to be like the Black Tony Stark or something. And then I took an engineering class, and I was like, yeah, this isn't it. And then I watched these 2 films called Akira and Old Boy. They're like, one's an anime and the other one's a South Korean film. And I was like, the light bulb went off, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And here I am. Now, when it comes to a lot of artists, they have to start somewhere, whether it's a short film, like for me, for example, whether it's a painting, any, or photography, any creation that an artist does, that's always their first kind of thing where it's like, okay, I'm passionate about this and I'm really gonna, pursue this. What was your first piece that you considered like your artistic breakthrough in a way?
Yeah, it was a painting that I did, I think in 2014 or 2015. It was a painting that I did of Captain Jack Sparrow, and it took me maybe like 20 hours to complete. And I really love the way that it turned out. It's very realistic and stuff. So I would say that was like the turning point for me.
That's dope. It's interesting because a lot of artists, when they first start off, when it comes to drawing and all that stuff, usually their first piece, it looks very different from their latest piece. Do you have did your style like evolve over time, or like when you first drew that piece, it was like, okay, this is awesome, and I'm just going to keep on, pursuing it? You gotta get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So in the early stages of my art, I mainly dealt with just like using pencils and shading, no color whatsoever. And I love drawing pictures that were portraits of people. I love drawing, trying to recreate people as closely as they look as possible and stuff. So that kind of transition, I'm still transitioning. Like in 2014, 2015, I started doing paintings and using color and kind of getting away from pencils. But now I'm slowly starting to switch out of doing paintings, and I'm doing comic book sketch covers, and I'm using markers and colored pencils now. So I just feel like, I'll just follow with wherever my heart's going. So
yeah, it's just it's a evolution as an artist. And speaking of that, what is your preferred like process when it comes to creating art? Do you like doing paintings, or do you kind of dabble a little bit in the digital art, like using Wacom tablets and graphics tablets like from Huion and XP Pen?
right.
Sure.
Well, as an artist, I'm pretty traditional at heart, except for when it comes to my comic book, which you kind of have to do digital, which the first part of my comic I did traditionally, then the second half is done digitally, but everything is inked digitally and colored as well. But when it comes, yeah, I prefer digital. No. I meant to say I prefer traditional. I love just the feel, the touch of canvas and using materials and stuff. I find that to be easier than doing digital. Of course, there's plus sides to digital, like you can always make simple corrections or alterations very easily and faster.
Right. And a lot of people have been having that discussion even when it comes to animation. A lot of people say, okay, what do I prefer more? The traditional animation where it's like cell animation where you have to draw it on picture and you have to keep on flipping back and forth, or digital where it's like, okay, I can create this and then other people are going to create like different scenes, have in between artists and all that. Same thing with film. Is it digital? Do you like making movies on Arri Alexas and Reds and all that, or the old fashioned like old timey celluloid where you have to send that out to like a lab or something and get that developed? So yeah, a lot of artists, they have the specific thing that just makes them in a way. Okay. Now, in the ever expanding world of comic book movies, of course, we've seen this with the MCU, the DCEU, the Spider-Man movies and all that. But in the world of comic books, is there any franchise that you personally would like to like dip your toe in, and, add your little flair to the world?
Yeah, like a comic book title specifically, a character, or like
Oh, just like any franchise, like Marvel or DC, even what character would you like to work on,
right. Um, as of late, I'm really finding myself to be in love with the independent comic world. There was a book that came out earlier from Aftershock called Scout's Honor. So like I really fell in love with that story and stuff. But one of my favorite comic books, and it's independent, is Lady Killer, which they're already adapting that into a TV show. So it will probably be Lady Killer. I don't even know. If I had to adapt something, it would probably be from Marvel. I love Marvel so much. So I would say that.
Yeah. Now, when I was introduced to you, of course, through your YouTube channel, which I'm going to leave a link in the description for people to go, check it out. Was there kind of like a drive of you to be like, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, or you just did it for like fun and was like, hey, this is pretty cool, I'm gonna keep, doing it?
Mm-hmm. So actually, a lot of my original YouTube videos are gone off of my channel. So what you see now is kind of like just this year. So I started doing YouTube in 2018. The first video I did was the Avengers Endgame trailer breakdown. So that was like a whole 30-minute video or whatever. I was just talking, mainly like my peers or family members watched the video and stuff. And I was making comic videos or unboxing videos. And then it happened August of August of 2020. I did the Batman trailer reaction from the DC Fandom event.
Yeah.
And then my video got like 20,000 views. And I was like, wait, what?
Like, oh, crap.
I was like, what's happening? Because like I was getting, like 50 views or something on a video. And that's when I really started to work hard on my reaction videos, and I invested in buying a microphone and a huge green screen. And so with the Marvel Disney Plus show WandaVision, that's when I started to do video reactions faithfully, then I was like, okay, there's something to it. Because I was trying to do breakdown videos at first, but that wasn't really working out. So I just adapted, and then I kind of gained a following from doing the TV shows. I was waking up at 3 a.m. every Wednesday in order to get the video out that day in early time. And as the TV shows from Marvel stopped, I just decided to do the movie reactions to movies that I haven't seen, because there's a lot of movies I haven't seen. So it's been working out for me pretty well. And I love to dress up and react to movies, because I think that is so fun. So
yeah, it's really cool, because like I remember like when I first saw your Spider-Man trilogy vids, I was like, oh my gosh, she's never seen the Tobey Maguire Spider movies. I've seen those 1,000,000,001 times. So like when I see your reaction for the first time, it's like, okay, it's really cool seeing another person's reaction on something that you grew up loving, you know. And then even with like, I know you said your first video was the Avengers Endgame one. My friend, who is like the biggest MCU fan, she watched the MCU trailer and she literally texted me a lot how she was so distraught. And even after Infinity War came out, like me and my friends, we would always meme the movie and like recreate the, you know, the dusting and all that type of stuff. And it was just, I'm telling you, that was one of the funniest times, like just being a Marvel fan. Right. And even, you know, when people start YouTube channels, like for me, I started YouTube when I was 14 years old. I tried doing movie reviews and I was like, okay, this not really it. So I went to the drawing board and I was like, okay, what can I do? Because of course I want to be a filmmaker and all that type of stuff. And then the idea of this podcast came about during the summer of 2020. I was like, oh, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? And then me and my friends, we were having a conversation and I literally just, the light bulb went off again. I was like, hey, do you guys want to start a podcast? And here I am, you know? Yeah. Now, like all creatives, being a creative is very challenging, you know, and being uninspired is is a humongous fear that many artists face. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times when people hear that you're an artist, or when people hear that you're a filmmaker or whatever, a lot of people saying, oh, that's not a real job, you know, like a 9 to 5, or, oh, you're going to be a starving artist, which that term really doesn't, that's kind of thrown out now. You know what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of artists who make a living off of it and they're hella successful. What do you do to keep being inspired? And also, what's the thing that keeps your like creative just brain, you know, your creative juices flowing to every day want to create?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I am constantly inspired just by different things. Like even when I was in class, this is my business class that I'm taking. We were just watching a video about like how technology is taking over the world and stuff. So as we were watching this video, like I was thinking about a film idea and stuff. So just anything like words, especially history class or like language arts class, that's like really what all these cool ideas start formulating in my mind. I'm very interested in a lot of things, like from marine biology to superheroes to film and TV. So it's just stuff that I see and I'm always thinking about that I could enhance or take from this situation or scenario.
Yeah, that's very important. You know, history. For some reason, like I never really been that big of a fan of like going to school. I know that sounds absolutely crazy. Like I'm on my delinquent type stuff, but like being in a language arts, a history, or an art class, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is, you know, you're being inspired, but you're learning about history, learning about certain things that happened before you were even born. Now, the final question. I know this was like a real quick interview, like a quick bite interview, but if you were to tell your 14-year-old self who is just getting started in becoming an artist and, you know, is going to the comic conventions and all that, what would you tell her?
You made it. No, I would just, you know, I feel like where I am today, I couldn't have even imagined. Like it's always something that I've dreamed of, but it's something that I couldn't have imagined. I would probably just tell myself to keep going, you know, even though you may be tired sometimes or you feel like all the work that you're putting in, there is no yield, like it will pay off eventually. Because like right now I'm in a space where I'm doing everything that I've always wanted to do. So
it's awesome. And yeah, you know, I feel like a lot of young kids who aspire to become, creatives in this world, you just have to, instead of trying to be like, oh, that's not really a stable income and all that type of stuff, you just got to keep saying, hey, yo, I know this is gonna sound kind of cliche, but you can be anything that you put your mind to, man. That's that. But yeah, that's very quick. But is there anything you want to ask me personally? Like, any questions?
What's like your end game?
What's my end game? After I graduate, I plan on becoming, of course, a filmmaker. And I'm trying a lot of things out. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I want to do that, I call myself the jack of all trades. Like I know how to sew, I know how to make music, I know how to edit. I'm doing this, the 1025 podcast and 1025 in conversation. I just love learning new things. And hopefully one day you'll see a poster that says a Jordan Walton film and be like, hey, that guy interviewed me.
I love that.
Dopeness. But yeah. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, you're welcome, man. But thank you for being a part of 1025 in Conversation. And thank you guys for watching episode 3 of 1025 in Conversation. I'm Jordan Keith Walton, along with Gabby, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Let me see.